Good morning, everybody. Welcome to our weekly, actually today, this week is 2 times in 1 week, webinar series from SCORE Monmouth. My name is Claire Davids and I am a SCORE mentor, and I also help with the Monmouth SCORE events that we have every week. So today I'm here to help facilitate this call and help guide questions to our presenter today, who is Bonnie Kantor, and she's here to present You've Got Mail, which will talk about best practices for email marketing and some use from Constant Contact. So just a little bit about SCORE. SCORE's a non-profit entity. We offer free mentoring services and also now these days webinar and seminar services to local businesses. Here on this call, we represent the Monmouth County chapter, but we are a national organization and we're supported by the SBA. Just quickly before we hand over to Bonnie, just from a maintenance perspective, for those of you who've been here before, you know, but we have a Q&A function in Zoom. So if you could post your questions in the Q&A function and not in the chat function, that makes it much easier for us to see them and manage them and make sure that we can answer all your questions. We really will try to get to everyone's questions, and we'll try to kind of group them if there are similar questions. So again, please try not to use the chat function because we're not going to really be moderating it or looking at it. And also don't use the raise hand function because we're not going to be looking at those either. So if you raise your hand, I don't want you to have that up and feel like you're being ignored. Please ask questions, ask as many questions as you want. No question is a bad question. We will ask them to Bonnie throughout the presentation. And so without any further ado, I am going to hand over to Bonnie. Let her introduce herself, talk a little bit about what she's going to be presenting today, and get on with her presentation. Over to you, Bonnie.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Nice to see you. I am going to share my screen, so bear with me. If I find it, here it is. Okay, so presentation today is called You've Got Mail. Couldn't be better. We all have so much mail. I'm Bonnie Kantor. My company is Pressing Issues. We're a digital marketing agency, and we provide custom web design, email marketing, and social media marketing for businesses. My credentials are up here. I would love to connect with you on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on Twitter. Take a look. Love it. If you're tweeting, I'm happy that you're doing that. Just make sure you say, oh, and Bonnie Kantor was wonderful. So here we go. Yeah, I'm also a certified, master certified solution provider for Constant Contact. So my expertise in email marketing is with Constant Contact. All of these items I'm going to talk about can easily be transferred to any email marketing platform that you're using. But I need to tell you, if I say, well, this is how Constant Contact does it, that's because that's what I know. Okay, so again, email. There's a lot of competition in the inbox. This slide makes me itch. This person has 33,878 emails that are unread. I don't get that, but you know, you may have some unread on your phone too. We get plenty. 246 billion emails are expected to be sent every day by the end of 2020. I think now that we're all in lockdown, it might be even more than that, but 246 billion is an awful lot of email. So how the heck can you stand out in the inbox with all that competition? That's what we're going to talk about today. Writing an email can be daunting. Whoops, sorry. Writing an email can be daunting, and these are the things that we hear from people. I don't know what to send. It takes too long. I'm not a good writer. And you know, I've been doing this a long time, but not enough people open or click on what I'm presenting to them. And these are all very legitimate, but we're going to try to take you through how this works so that it's not as daunting. So the answer to what should I send, you can send anything that you think is going to get people to open it. So Southside Cycling on the left has Save Big. They've got a big promotion that they're running. That's a wonderful thing to do. The other one is more informational. And the truth is that people don't want to be sold to all the time. So the rule that we have is 80% educational, 20% sales. Now you can combine those two things in an email and have an informational email that also asks somebody to buy. What should I send? Come on. How often is another question that comes up all the time. I like that it's April 2019. I wish we were there now. So how often? Actually, Claire and I were talking about this earlier. How often? So you can send about once a month. If you're running something that's really, really important, you can send more than that. But people get really tired of seeing a million emails in their inbox from the same person. If you've ever purchased anything in a retail store or online, Amazon, you know you get 6, 7, 8 emails right after one another, and that is not a good practice. So today we're going to talk about the different types of emails, a simple formula for any email, and tips and tricks for writing successful emails and for not having to write them all yourself. So these are automated emails that you might want to consider. So you set them up once, you give it a parameter, and it sends for you. I like that. One is a welcome email. So when somebody joins your list, you can automatically have them get an email that says, thanks so much for joining. My personal one says, thanks for joining. I hate spam too, don't worry. But you can give them an offer, enjoy 10% off, whatever. It's a one-off. So they join your list, they get a welcome email so that they know that they know that you received it and they know that you're thinking about them. Another one that's automatic is a birthday email. So you can set up, as long as you have the information, you can set up an email to go out for somebody's birthday. Nice touch for any business. And the third one is anniversary, which of course you could use for actual wedding anniversaries, but you could also use it, let's say you're a realtor, you could use it as the anniversary of them moving into their house or closing on their house. You can use it as the anniversary of starting to do work together. Not bad. As long as you have the information, you can do it. This is included in every Constant Contact account. I don't know about the others. These are examples of offers and promotions. All kinds of things, you know. Here's an offer, 20% store-wide, but you know, that's got to be, if you're selling something, that works. This is about achieving a goal, and it's a good practice to send out stuff that's talking about your business. And then there are event emails. I'm sure everyone who got here today came through an event email that SCORE Monmouth sent out talking about this upcoming webinar. So you can send a save the date, you can send an invitation, a reminder, and a follow-up after. So event emails are very, very good if you're doing events. You can celebrate holidays. all kinds of holidays. I mean, yeah, there are regular holidays like, Christmas, New Year's, whatever. But you can add other holidays. There's always a holiday on Facebook that you can send out an email about. All kinds of things. It's Cousin's Day. It's whatever it is. It's time to make an avatar. That seems to be a theme right now. Or you can send out how-to information, step-by-step videos or instructions. Videos are powerful. People love to see videos, and yes, you can insert them into an email and send them. I recently took on a client that does, he does credit processing, and he has a video that he did of himself explaining this program that he's got. We put it in an email, sent it to his list, which was not as robust as he would like. It was only 80 people, and it gave him 4 new accounts, which he was delighted with. So videos are great. If you can get a video of yourself or a video testimonial from one of your clients, it's a great thing to put in an email. And I would suggest that if you do that, and we'll get to subject lines later, but if you put a video in, let people know it's a video, because they might open more to see a video. You can put in checklists and guidelines. You can put in best tips, best practices. You could frequently ask questions are one of my favorite things. So if 3 or 4 people ask you the same question about your business, well, you can answer them all at once in an email. People obviously want to hear it. So great subject. If you're worried about subject, what to send, that'll help. Or you can create a dialogue. In this example, there's a poll, which is also good. You can also ask people for reviews. Send them to your Google account or send them to your Facebook and ask them to review. Honestly, even outside of email, should always be asking people to review you. It really, really helps with moving you up in the Google hierarchy that we all live by. And if you get people to answer these little polls, what happens is you find out what people really want. What kind of feedback? What is it that you aren't doing or are doing that should be, changed or enhanced? I once worked with somebody who did a survey of his whole business. It was a restaurant, and the survey was very long and very involved, and his customers did it. They really, really responded, and his response to that was he went in, he answered every single person individually. It took a lot of time, but it was really worth it. He got a lot of people to come in. You can send something that's behind the scenes. Again, this is a great place to put a video, but feature employees or volunteers if that's your, that's what you're doing. If you're a nonprofit, how you make your products, who's joining your group, who's, what's happening, whose dog is there. That's always a good thing. And news, what's going on in your industry. Keep in mind that you are the expert on your business and your industry, and you get news that all of the people who you're sending to, don't have any idea about. So it's always good. One of my colleagues is in insurance, and she's always sending out really important industry news so that we all know what's going on. And local happenings is a very good idea. If you have a bead on what's going on locally, absolutely let people know. They'll look forward to your emails because you're not just bombarding them with bye, bye, bye. You're giving them important education and information. And now we come to the very scary word, newsletters, which is, it's a very typical thing that is sent out, but newsletters tend to be long. People don't really want to read them. I once saw one that was 16 pages. If you printed it out, I don't know who would want to do that. So you want to kind of segment your audience. Make sure that you're sending the right information to the right people. take your list and decide who needs what and create different newsletters for different people, different groups of people. In your email, this may be shocking, 3 topics at most. You don't want to bombard people. They're just not going to read it. And a very important item is right here, this read more button. So you put a little bit up, and then you click off to a read more, whether it's a web page or a white paper that you've loaded a PDF. Read more is very useful because it cuts down on the content that's showing. And of course, there's a couple of pictures on this one and their logo, but people might be interested in bouncing their eyes around it. Keep in mind that people don't read everything. Sad. We work so hard to write them and they don't read them. Newsletters. So the simple formula for any email, it's pretty simple. How long should my email be? I'm sure some of you have thought about this. 20 lines of text or 200 words results in the highest click rate. Now, what's a click rate? It's when you have an embedded link in your text or in an image and people actually click there to see what you have to say, or a button that tells them to take the next action and they click there. So 20 lines of text. You don't want to put, again, back to that, 16-page email. Nobody's reading it. This needs to be really sharp and quick. And here are examples. They're hard to see on the screen, I think, but it's a picture, the headline, some text, and a do something button, an action button down here. So this is the formula, pretty simple. A picture, a paragraph, and a call to action. This is what you need to have in your email. A picture or a video, a paragraph about what you want to talk about, and a call to action. Call to action being the most important thing. Call to action could be read more, could be call, could be make an appointment, or it could be that somebody just, takes an action. So we talk a lot about open rates and click-through rates. How many opens is the right amount of opens. What's really important is that they take an action. If your email results in tons of clicks to your website, but nothing happens, you put up a coupon there and nobody's using it, then that probably wasn't the best call to action. Revise it for next time. So the questions are, what are you offering? How will it help? And details so that people want to keep going and give them an option on what to do next. An example, capture every moment, get 15% off family portraits. Well, perhaps not now, although people are doing porch portraits. I do have a photographer who I work with who is doing just that and is scheduling porch portraits just exactly this way. What is this? So these are examples. So the picture, it's a paragraph, and a button to do something. One of the things that I haven't mentioned yet is that you should always put links to your social media on your email. They fit quite nicely into the well, Constant Contact, I'm sure all of them have icons pre-built. They fit into the look of it. But what happens if people click on your social media? Well, that gives you double. You see that people are interested, they click, triple click, and also which social media they're interested in seeing. So if 10 people click and 8 of them went to Facebook and 1 of them went to Twitter, maybe your effort should be on Facebook. That's where they're going to look for you. That's where you should be. So it's a really good. Yes.
Can you see when people have clicked through to your Facebook link or your call to action button, or you can actually in the analytics you can see?
Absolutely. How many and who, which is a little scary, but it's how many people have clicked, where they've clicked. Yes, you can. So you can gauge it. You can decide where you should put your effort. If nobody's going to your LinkedIn page, don't bother. You know, put it on the bottom of the list. Do a few a month maybe. But if Facebook is where they are, put it there. If Instagram is where they are, put it there. Put your energy where your people are. Makes sense, right?
Yep.
And this is, you don't have to write it all. So, yes, it's good if you're writing original copy. It's time consuming, as we said at the beginning, and it's not easy. So another way to go is to curate content from other people. Oh, I'm sorry, that wasn't the slide I was hoping for. Well, that's the one I like. how to curate content. So, so you can take someone else's blog or someone else's article and you can use it in your email. You need to absolutely credit them, but you can link to it and you can write a little blurb about what you thought about this article so that it gives you a personal touch. And the best part is you can also use it on your social media. So you can put it in both places. So you can find content. Constant Contact is suggesting Feedly. I also use Google Alerts, which are, I don't know if anybody else is using Google Alerts, but you can put in a keyword and it'll show you all the articles that have to do with that keyword that they found today. And it shows up in your email. Yes, it's very annoying because a lot of it is garbage, but you find that one little shiny piece that'll work for you, and then you've got content to share. Offer your own perspective. Make sure people know that you actually read this article that you're suggesting, and give credit. So that's how you curate content, and you can say, I'm a content curator. Your subject line is very important. I usually write my subject line last. It's kind of like the cover page on a term paper, if you can remember that far back. Well, if you can remember You've Got Mail, then you can remember that. So I summarize what's in my email campaign into the shortest possible, cutest subject line, because the subject line is what makes people open. Actually, a few things make people open. Who it's from is very important. So if you're sending out emails that have a very generic from line, you might want to change that to put your name in it if people recognize you by your name. Mine usually say Bonnie Kantor, pressing issues, because they'll recognize one of those things. So that's very important. But you don't have much time. 100 milliseconds to form an impression is not a lot of time. You just got to go. You have to make it meaningful. The length of the subject line should be very short, 4 to 7 words at most. Okay, so how do you do it? Consider your content, use keywords or phrases, focus on the benefit. Why should they care? Or how can it help? So, yeah. Here's some subject line ideas. Make them laugh. Distinctive landscaping, calm down Mother Nature. And then the I forget what that's called, preheader is the snow isn't going to slow us down. Maybe you didn't laugh. Use numbers, and I'm sure you've seen lots of these. 5 tips, 10 ideas, 40 reasons. People like those. They like the numbers. Ask questions. Are your investments working for you? This is too long, this subject line. It's running off. Pull at their heartstrings. Yep, take 5 minutes to help animals in need, absolutely might open that email and create a sense of urgency. Last chance, register by Friday. This is these are all really good ways to get people to open it. Make it personal. Stephanie, do you love cheese? Now, again, in Constant Contact, probably in many other places, you can personalize your subject line by putting in a little bit of code that allows the first name to show up in the subject line. You can also put an emoji in, but you know, that doesn't always work for people. Yes, you want to use you or your instead of the, right? You want to make it very personal. Try and get people to open it. So this is the pre-header. It doesn't show up in Outlook at all, in my experience. It does show up in Gmail. It shows up better on mobile than on any desktop client. But then again, we're all mobile. I mean, I can't even give you a statistic about how many people open on mobile, although Constant Contact can. If you send out an email, part of what's in the statistics is how many people looked on a desktop and how many people did it on their phone. Now, if you were counting me, you'd see it twice. So the pre-header text should be 5 to 8 words. So you get a little less, a little more. Again, some people see it, some people don't. Up to you. More tips for successful writing. Get personal. Send I'm sorry, I can't see it. Send targeted, relevant info. So yes, you want it to be personal. You want the person to open the email and think you're writing to them. Now, years ago, I used a dear first name in some of my emails. It was actually to a membership organization I was working with. And, you know, the first names were in the database. It was pretty simple. You just put in a little bit of code. Actually, you don't even have to know the code. It inserts it for you. And so the emails went to Dear Bonnie, Dear Claire, Dear Bill, Dear whoever. And people thought I was writing them individual emails. And I loved it because no, I didn't. But people, if they see their own name, they think it's you, and that's really what we want, right? That you singled them out, that you targeted them, that you know who they are. And forget about the e-blast mentality, it says. So yeah, you're not blasting anything. You're writing a personal note to your, even if you've got, 10,000 people on your list, each one is still personally getting this email. And, so don't think you're blasting something out. I hear people say that all the time. It's like, what? And so in your email, you want to have a personal conversation, and you can kind of unveil some of the things that are going on in your business. And that makes people really feel like you know them and that they're being talked to personally, and it might make them more likely to take an action. You and your. And show your personality. I think I did that all in one fell swoop there. Definitely show them who you are, or who your employees are, or who your volunteers are, or who's behind the screen. We all want to get inside, right? It's a good thing. Questions, I said this earlier, questions can become email content. So again, if people are asking you questions that you are answering over and over again, write an email about it. Tell people what they really want to know anyway. And this was a very difficult slide for me to put up. The power of words trigger a response. So you're going to get these slides, so you'll have this one. So it shows you the different kinds of words that you can use, especially in your subject lines, that will encourage trust, encouragement, vanity, curiosity. So you know, we're dependable. Yeah, maybe that's not the best subject line, but people want to see that. But my caveat to this is Google the ultimate list of email spam trigger words. It's an article on somewhere, it's on Google, and it'll show you the words you shouldn't use. So these are the words you should use, and you'll see the words you shouldn't use that are going to trigger the ISPs to say this is spam, and I'll put it in the spam folder. Certainly don't want that, all your hard work. Always be testing. So the first test you're going to do is before you send that email that you work so hard on, you're going to send one to yourself. So you can see what it's going to look like. If you haven't done this before and you're just starting out, you should send it to everybody who's a good friend who can look at it clearly, know what you're doing, tell you what's right, what's wrong. That's the first test. The second test is to kind of do A/B testing, splitting your list, seeing what subject line works best, what time of day works best, what day of the week works best. You can test everything. And the reason that it's so easy to test is that you get all these statistics that'll tell you, when I sent it on Monday, I got a 10% open rate. When I sent it on Tuesday, I got a 20% open rate. Well, maybe Tuesday's the better day. And then you can test the time same way. So always be testing. And to recap, include a variety of email types and content in your strategy. Answer the 3 questions to write the text for your email. And those are, what are you offering? How will it help the reader? What should they do next? What are we trying to accomplish? Oh, going the wrong way. Come on. Oh, and get personal. Sorry, said get personal and target your emails to specific groups. So this is me. I'm here. Claire, do we have questions for me, or are we kind of not so much?
I'm sorry, I was talking and I had you muted. So we do have some questions, and we have a couple of questions from the attendees, and we've had some that came in before the call. So to the attendees, please go ahead, post your questions here in the Q&A function. I'm going to answer those first, and then I'll go to the ones that came in ahead of time. So we had a question from Karen, which is, I use email marketing. One struggle is my email gets into people's spam or promotion folder. It is more often than they use Gmail. If they use Gmail, how can I resolve this? And that's a question that also came in ahead of time as well. So that's a good question to.
Yeah, it's a question that comes up all the time. And the trouble is that Gmail has decided that constant contact is spam, period. So you can, if you have that kind of relationship, you can talk to the people who are getting it in spam and tell them to mark it as safe, and then you won't go into spam anymore. The Constant Contact did some studies on this and have found that even though that's happening, the open rates and the click-through rates are steady. So that's my best answer for that.
And so there's not really, I mean, I think what you're saying is there's not
You
really
can't do anything.
to do. Okay, Bonnie, can you maybe stop sharing your screen so people can see you?
Sure. Yeah, I am back again.
There we go. There you are. Okay, so for the spam question, just to summarize that, so basically it's the more you get click rates, the less you will go to spam. So it kind of, it's a great big circle, I'm guessing, that, you know, if you get more click rates, you get less spam.
Yep, and the email marketing companies like Constant Contact and the rest are all working with the ISPs like Gmail to make that stop happening. But it's an uphill battle. It really is.
And I guess it is an uphill battle, right? Because we all receive so much spam that you're kind of thankful for the spam folder, but at the same time, it's hard to.
Or the fabulous promotions folder. That was my favorite when they did that and put everything in the promotions folder. The thing you can do, you personally, about that is combine that folder with your inbox if you want to see all of those emails. And you can instruct people to do that, but good luck with that.
Exactly. Okay, so there's a question here. I'm not sure I understand it fully, but if you're working in Outlook, where do you find the preheader? i.e., how do you make one?
No, the preheader is made in Constant Contact or whatever email marketing program you're using. It is part of setting up the email. The trouble with Outlook, because these are not Outlook emails, these are email marketing emails. And the trouble with Outlook is that Outlook doesn't show that preheader, so you can't see it.
So I think then what you need to do is not have the preheader is important, but it can't be the hook, I guess, because some people may not see it.
Right, unless, lots and lots, most people are also looking on their mobile, so there it shows up.
Then we have a question. Can you say a little bit about building an email list when events and et cetera are shut down for COVID?
Good luck with that too. So you can, it's not just events, it's everything shut down so that, you're not collecting business cards, you're not meeting people. You can do it through social media. You can ask people to join your list. You can add a pop-up to your website that asks people to join your list. There is a free builder for that in Constant Contact that you can attach to your website, and then every time somebody comes, they hopefully will take you up on it.
So in terms of building your email list, if someone gives you, I think this is relevant to privacy laws, et cetera, but so if someone gives you a business card, are you allowed to use their email?
You are. It's called implied permission, but the best practice is to say, I'm going to add you to my list. I mean, you just tell them. We have an email list. We send out lots of great information. One of my favorite experiences was, and I say that sarcastically, is that I was buying something in Victoria's Secret once, and the cashier looked at me and said, after she gave me my total, email, kind of like that. And I said, what? And she said, you have an email? And I said, no. Now, had she said, we have an email that goes out that gives you, discounts and coupons, and would you like to be on that? I might have said yes. I might have said no anyway, but I might have said yes. So you got to be careful how you ask. But certainly you and any employees, any staff you have should be trained to ask for an email address and tell people that you're going to put them on your list. So at every moment, at every sale, every phone call, hey, I've got a list, can I add you? So, that's best we can do in these very interesting times.
Okay, then we had a question about Constant Contact. Do you have any idea of what the price range is per month? I don't have a clue.
I certainly do. Funny you should ask. So Constant Contact starts at up to 500 contacts. They charge by how many contacts are in your list, not by how many emails you send. So up to 500 contacts is $20 a month. You can absolutely get discounted by prepaying for the year. I offer discounts all the time, so if you want to do that, get in touch with me. Don't just go to their website, please. And also, if you're a member of SCORE, you get a discount just for that. So $20 is the base price. It goes down from there.
Then we have, going back to email lists, can you use your personal email list for your marketing? So if it's in your personal contacts, could you use that?
Sure, as long as you have a relationship. So If it's your customers, obviously. If you run an e-commerce business, on your website and people have purchased from you before, that's legit. What you can't do is buy a list. If you buy a list, that's against the law because you don't have any kind of relationship with those people. And certainly you can put up your family, your friends, just so they can see your emails and critique them, tell you what's wrong with them.
So there was another question there. I'm just, what is the best way to obtain quality email lists? I'm going to ask that one just because it's relevant to the last question. So
you can't. You have to build it yourself. So you have to. Well, you have to build it yourself in that people need to know that you're going to send it to them. So, for instance, I work with a florist who's involved with NewJerseyWeddings.com, and they do, not now, but they do lots of wedding shows, and people come and sign up, and they specifically sign up for florists. He gets that list, and we can send to them, because again, it's implied permission.
Okay. So then we have a question. Somebody's using Wix, and they receive a list of soft bounce, hard bounce, and rejects. What is a soft bounce? Is that going to spam?
Not necessarily. Sometimes, so it's email marketing on Wix. I'm not really that familiar with it, but sometimes if an email has bounced several times across a whole platform, like Constant Contact, again, if the same email is in several accounts and bounces, they're not going to send that email to, even if it's now that it's on your list, they're not going to send to that email because it's a waste of time and money and effort because it's not going to go anywhere. So that's a soft bounce. The other kind of soft bounce is if they get a vacation or away message. So it's not like this doesn't exist, this email doesn't exist, which would be a hard bounce, but it's kind of a, we can't make this delivery. That's what it means.
So this is a good question. It's an interesting question. Do you need to use an email marketing platform, or could you send from your regular email account if you're just starting out?
Well, you could, but you're certainly not going to get the same features. And one of the features that is actually in the Spam Can Act is that you must give people a way to opt out. So when you send from a list in your Outlook or whatever you're using, a couple of things happen. You create a list and you send out all this stuff. For one thing, you talk about spam, the internet service providers see that as spam. You have sent the same message with the same subject line to 50 people. They say, what the heck is this? So they start to watch you. If you do that a couple of times, they're going to stop delivering all your email. So it's very dangerous to do it that way. You can't put in an opt-out. You just can't. I mean, you can say in there, well, if you don't want to be on this, write to me, but that's not really an opt-out. Opt-out is take me off your list, period. I don't want to have any interaction with you. So it's not the safest way to go. You can't really put images in, or, it's very limited. And so email marketing is a whole different thing than just sending an email.
Then we have a couple of questions. They're kind of similar. So one was that the one question, and then I'll read the other one is, so are all emails sent through Constant Contact considered spam with Google? Does that suggest we should use another company? And then we had another question right after, which was, we're using MailChimp, and this week we learned everything goes to the junk folder, and they were notified.
Right. All of the email marketing platforms are having the same struggle, and believe me, they're all banding together to try to get this resolved. So no, it doesn't mean you need to use a different, you're going to have that problem with some emails. Not all emails go to spam. Some emails do.
And it's back to the list that you kind of mentioned. So some of it will be words in the email, some of it will be, okay. So you kind of have to find that.
It's a balance. It's a balance. You have to be really careful about the words you use in your subject lines, the words you use in your email itself. And Constant Contact, again, I don't know about the others, Constant Contact has a whole department about deliverability. And if they see that your emails are not getting where they're supposed to go, that's their business, is delivering emails. So they're going to call you and say, what's with this list? What are you doing? I'm getting into your account and I see that you did blah, 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 blah. So they try to help.
Does soft bounces affect your reputation, or will soft bounces be more, affect you going more to regular spam?
No, it doesn't have anything to do with spam. Soft bounces just mean they're undeliverables, which means you're paying for something that didn't get anywhere. So the best thing to do if you get something like, it's undeliverable because it's bounced so many times, is to try to get in touch with that person and see if there's another email you can use. As far as I'm concerned, any reason to reach out to my clients is a great reason, is a great thing.
So this isn't a question, but so you can you see that's posted there, but it's something I've just thought that might be helpful. Can you see in Constant Contact if things have gone to spam?
No.
You can't, okay.
Well, no, in Constant Contact, there is, yes, you can, I'm sorry. Not that somebody may report you as spam. You can't see that statistic or who it is. They'll just tell you got 7 spam reports, which would be really bad. You can see who unsubscribed and you can see how things bounced. So going to spam is not one of the categories, but you can see the other reasons that something might have bounced.
Okay. And then just for the people who are listening, so we're talking about best practices, and we are talking about Constant Contact, but I know there's some questions about other software like MailChimp, etc. You would assume that they're all banding together and they're all going to have similar practices.
Yes.
Just Nikki, you've asked about the contact info at the end, and we will put it at the end. We're also going to send out a message after the call with the presentation to it, so you'll have all that.
Great.
I'd
love to hear you, all of you, any of you.
So I have so Barbara Pinto has a question. This is, she has a cleaning business and she doesn't have emails with her clients. Everything she does is by text. Is there a good method using cell phone numbers to contact clients? Are there any constant contacts for text blasting?
There are some out there. I don't know them. I've never used them, but Google knows. Just, go to Google. If you have a Constant Contact account, I don't know if you do. If you have a Constant Contact account, probably not because you don't have email. You could go into the Constant Contact marketplace and look for somebody there. And the reason that I suggest that is that they are very reputable because they've been vetted by Constant Contact. But Google's a good place to start. Just type in what you need and evaluate them.
I mean, I know for sure there are definitely text blast abilities out there. So I would definitely Google it. Maybe even Barbara, you could reach out to Bonnie afterwards and she could have a look through Constant Contact and see if there's a possibility.
Sure.
So then we have a question. I see many brands send similar information on their social media platforms and email lists. Is there a guideline how you should behave differently in email rather than in social media?
The answer to that is not really. You can send the same information in both places. Social media obviously is more immediate. It happens all the time. You're posting. But one of the things that I've seen done, and I think it's a really good idea, is putting up an email that has the last several things that you posted online. So you're kind of catching them on both ends.
Okay. What is a good open rate?
Yeah, I knew that was going to come up. It depends on the business. It depends on where you're at. There, I think anything over 10% is good. 20 is excellent. I had a client who complained to me bitterly. She had a membership organization. She didn't understand why she only got a 50% open rate. Let me tell you, 50% of the people that you sent to opened your mail. That is cause for much celebration. again, it depends on what you're sending and what your audience is, but I would say if you get somewhere around 20, you're doing very well.
Okay, so then somebody, Laurie has asked, if she has an email marketing through Wix, does she need something like MailChimp or Constant Contact if it's being done?
No. If you're doing it on Wix and they're doing a good job, that's fine. Especially if it's included in your cost.
Okay, what are the advantages of Constant Contact over a free version of MailChimp?
Yeah, well, Constant Contact is the oldest and most respected email marketing platform around. The biggest difference, there are lots of differences, but the most important difference is Constant Contact support is unparalleled. I mean, I have called support because I ran into a problem with an email and they kind of redo the whole email for me. MailChimp doesn't have support. Maybe they have a chat. They don't have support. And that's, if you need that kind of, help, even once, it's worth it just for that. It's a very good platform. I can send you a comparison of the two, but I'm really not here to sell Constant Contact. I'm just telling you that's the main thing.
Okay, what is the best way to conduct an A/B test?
Oh, it's complicated, but it's doable. You take your list and you divide it into two lists. You can call it A and B, or you can call it whatever you want to call it. And then what you do is you send the same message to each list on a different day. And then you compare the statistics. So at the same time on different days. So you send it on Monday, you send it on Thursday, and you compare the stats and you say, well, I get a whole lot more opens on whichever day you do. Then you can do the same thing by sending, again, the same message. You could also do this with testing subject lines, change the subject line and see what happens. And the other thing is that once you have the right day, you can send it at 2 different times a day. And that's an A/B test. So what was best? Was it best at 9 o'clock in the morning? Was it best at 6 o'clock at night? It all depends on your audience. Who are you sending to? So
it's sort of relevant to that. If you have a big list, say you had a list of 5,000 email addresses that you've compiled,
yeah.
Are you better off sending that out in batches, or can you release it at one time? Does it make any difference?
Makes no difference. You can send it all at one time. That's, again, a big plus to working with an email marketing platform. That's what they do. They deliver it. And if they need to send it in batches, they'll batch it. You don't have to work at that.
Okay. And do you have an opinion of campaigner email marketing?
I don't know that program at all.
Okay. What free contact managers would you recommend? And then the question is Slack.
Oh, well, see, I don't know. I don't have any real experience with that. I'm very old school. I use Outlook for everything. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a good question for Google, right? And I know that there is a number of contact managers and CRM websites out there that are free.
Yeah.
So, I think Zoho has a free one. If you Google it, it'll give you the top 5. I know for the business that I'm involved in, we use Zoho, and it's free and it works pretty well. I haven't any experience with Slack other than the chat app, but it was pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll make this the final question because it's nearly 10:55. But what is the best 3 ways to market for ROI?
What are the best 3 ways to market?
Yeah.
Well, you have to hit them everywhere anyway, right? So social media is a must. Website, have a great website. Email marketing is also very important. So those are probably the best ways to get to your people. If you have other ways of doing it, that's great. If you go to, at some point in our lives again, go to events and festivals and fairs, and if that's your market, Again, I was talking about the bridal shows. You know, if that's your market, then that's where you should be. You should be standing in back of a booth and handing out information to the brides. So it's a, you know, depends on your business, but certainly those are the three pillars, right? Your website, social media, and email marketing. Your website being the center. You're going to send people to your other places, to your social media, and to your email, and you're going to send them from there back to your website. Because your website, and here's an important point, your website and your email marketing are the only things that actually belong to you. So you're putting up pictures and whatever on Facebook, that belongs to Facebook. You can't really retrieve them. They belong to Facebook. On your website, it's your material. It belongs to you. And that's key. Different question, but that's key.
Great. All right, thank you. We really appreciate that. Thank you so much for your presentation and for all the information you've given us. It was really, really helpful.
Great, thanks for having me.
Just a quick note for all of our attendees. So as those of you have been coming each week, and those of you that are new, we have weekly webinars. The content and the subject matter varies every week. So this upcoming Friday, we have Jeff Basser, who's the New Jersey Department of Travel and Tourism Executive Director, and he's going to be talking about some things that now the beaches are open, and now that we're starting to open up a little bit, some things that we're doing to attract people back down to the shore. This is on Friday at 11. I know that we've been doing calls at 3, but we've moved them to 11, and we're starting to move them to 11 just because it's becoming nicer weather, and we thought maybe people would want to enjoy their weekends. Friday is going to be hosted by Bill Atkins, not myself. So you'll have Bill on. He's actually on today. If you have your videos on, you've seen him, but he's our SCORE Monmouth chapter chair, and he's going to be hosting Friday's call. Remember, SCORE Business Mentoring is free, and you can find a local mentor on our website at monmouth.score.org. So if anybody has anything outside of this subject matter that they need business advice on, please feel free to reach out. You can find a list of our mentors on our website. That made me think of one other thing that I wanted to tell you that has already slipped my mind. But so thank you everybody for joining. We really appreciate your attendance. You're going to get a survey. Oh, that's what I was going to say. Now I remembered. A copy of Bonnie's presentation will be emailed to you as well after this webinar, or within the next 24 hours. You'll also see a copy of the entire presentation on our website. No, not on our website, on our YouTube channel, and also on our Facebook page. You're going to get a survey in the mail after this too. So just, if you can, just fill it in. It's a very short survey. It's really helpful to us to know what's working, what we can improve on. And I think that's it. That's my speech done. So thank you everybody for joining. Bonnie, again, thank you so much for your support. We really appreciate it. Everybody have a great rest of your week. Hopefully we'll see you Friday. Stay safe.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.